you lot, and welcome to another edition of Ramblers in the South Stand. Conor here for Leeds TV, and we're going to be doing a Brentford preview today. We're going to do something a little bit different as well. It's what I've wanted to do for a couple of weeks. In my previews, I've always wanted to sort of like read out your guys' comments, so I got you to send me some Instagram posts, some direct messages, and some tweets, and also some things on Facebook as well. So we're going to go through that today, and we're going to sort of dissect the Brentford game, really. So what I'd like to get on first of all is Brentford's sort of, I'm going to get straight into it, Brentford's recent result, a 1-1 draw at home to Birmingham. It's a Brentford side that's faltering at the minute. The last 3 or 4 weeks they've not looked great. I know at the start of the season I actually picked them out to be one of the informed sides, to be one of the sides that are going to contend, possibly to be one of the top two, and I still think that is a possibility. I think this Brentford side play a way that we as Leeds United fans know as Bielsa ball. They play at a fantastic rate of play. They're very quick, they're very dynamic, pragmatic on the ball, and it's one of those where you think to yourself, are they going to be able to compete with our side, Bielsa's football? And by the looks of Brentford and how they retain possession, create chances, are able to batter teams with possession stats throughout the games, that would conclude to a yes. They're a very good team, and for me the best footballing team in the Championship aside from us at the minute. I've got a higher pass completion rate with Leeds. Their possession stats I think are 2% below Leeds' per game. So we know how standout we've been as a side this season. Brentford aren't far off that, and they're lying in a good position in 5th after a bit of a falter. But we know teams can come back. Leeds are going to experience a little bit of a dip. Are we experiencing our dip now? I mean, we've only lost 1 game, so I don't know if I'd call that a dip. But Brentford seem to be in a bit of a funk at the minute, because Leeds are still churning out good performances, whereas Brentford have been pretty lacklustre. Arsenal, when they played Arsenal, lost 3-1. There's a lot of Bees fans who were disappointed in that game because they really didn't show what they were about, and that was sort of a game where they could have gone to a Premier League side, and a Premier League side probably not with a full strength squad, and really shown what they were about, and they didn't really do that. Similar when they played Derby not so long ago, and Derby took them. I actually watched that game. I watched it back on highlights, so I wasn't missing anything out. But Derby took them to the cleaners. A really impressive performance from Brentford. And then we move on to the most recent one, Birmingham. I mean, you could say we lost to Birmingham at home. I mean, we did obviously, but Brentford didn't, I guess. But Birmingham were down to 10 men. Now, is that not giving Birmingham enough plaudits? Maybe we're seeing Birmingham and a Gary Monk side who could possibly even do something similar if they don't get that 12-point reduction. Who knows? I mean, they're looking good at the minute, Birmingham. They've taken some good points off good teams. You know, the likes of Sheffield United, Leeds, Millwall. Sorry, not Millwall. Ipswich, and it's one of those where you can see maybe Birmingham doing something this season. Who knows? But yeah, anyway, I'd like to sort of move on to Dean Smith's squad. Apparently Ollie Watkins, they're not 100% sure if he's going to be playing, which is a positive for Leeds. I think Watkins causes all sorts of problems. He can cause problems centrally, he can cause problems out wide. He's a very, very decent player, and we saw that at Griffin Park last season. I think he conjured the 2 chances that they scored, and he was just a menace, an absolute thorn in Leeds' arse throughout the game. Really, really good player, and he's not the only one who we need to watch out from. A big fan of Josh McEachran in the middle, ex-Chelsea lad. I'm sure Rizzy Brown will know him very well, and it's just one of the Chelsea youngsters who've gone on to decent things. He sort of controls stuff in the middle, and he scored against Birmingham as well. But what gives me hope for this game is the fact that Birmingham did go there and they really gave a good account of themselves, and Brentford are struggling at the minute. They seem to be really on a poor run of form. But can Leeds can we make that into a serious problem? Can we sort of bang maybe 2 or 3 past them? Will it be a narrow victory? I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I think Brentford is going to be a really tough game. But I think they're faltering, and if we play our game, I think we could definitely do something against them. The issue is they play expansive football and open football. Could that play into Leeds' hands? It probably will, because teams like Rotherham and Birmingham have come to Leeds. They've sat back, and Leeds have struggled. Leeds have really struggled to break them down, especially in that Rotherham game for the first 60 minutes. But if Brentford come and play open, expansive football, it means that they're going to be exposed at the back, and we all know this. We saw this with Derby, we saw it with Norwich trying to do it at Carrow Road as well, and Leeds took them apart. Do we have the quality to be able to do that? Not at the minute, in my opinion, but we do have enough quality to expose Brentford. It's going to be, like I said, an open, expansive game, and I think it's going to be a cracking game of football. But yeah, what I wanted to do, something that I've not done before, is kind of get into your Instagram and Twitter comments, just on the Brentford game and on Leeds in a whole, really. I think it's a really interesting way of doing it. I like Joe's sort of version on it, and I get a lot of messages from you guys as well. So I think it's only fair that I sort of like divulge into these and sort of get the fans' view on them. So MRC Matty said, do you think Douglas's absence could be costly for us, and who do you think should fill that position until he returns? I think Pearce is a good shout. I completely agree with you, Matt. I think Pearce is the better shout. I think Dallas has been good for us, but I think Dallas is a utility player. He's industrial, and I think Dallas is someone who you bring on 60, 70 minutes and he sort of etches the game out, he prolongs the game, and Leeds get into sort of a good stead when Dallas comes on. He relaxes the midfield and the back four to an extent, helps the fullbacks out, and I think Dallas is really good in that role. Would I start him at left back? I wouldn't, because I think we've had issues for years having a right footer at left back, and I think that's because what it does naturally is the right footer cuts inside, and Dallas will be no different because their weaker side is their left side, obviously, and I think having a right footer on that side is a weakness, and I would rather have a left footer on that side. Another one from Matt as well. Do you think Alioski would improve his game if he had some competition for this position? I know you touched on Jack Clark in your last video, and for me it was the same last season with Alioski. When Dallas got more game time over Alioski soon came back stronger. Do you think that is what we might see again this season? There's no doubt when Alioski is on fire, there is no stopping him. That is completely correct. And what I would like to touch on as well in the last video is there was no battering in the last video. There was no singling Alioski out. It's a fan channel. We can all talk about Alioski. We can all talk about individual players in the squad. That's what we are here for. It was a general consensus. It was a chat about Alioski, and I know a lot of you supported it. And I think it was a good thing to get out. It was a balanced review, and I thought it's one of those things that needed to be touched on. In answer to Matty's question, I think a lot of this was touched on in the last video. Alioski, I think, would come back stronger. I think he'd work hard. The only thing with Alioski is I'm not 100% sure the quality's there. I do not doubt his work rate, and that is the only issue for me because, you know, would he improve his game? Can he improve his game? I think he can to an extent, but I do think he really puts the graft in, Alioski. I'm not 100% sure the quality's there. Whereas I know the quality is there with Jack Clark, but there is a reason Bielsa's not putting him in at the minute. Maybe it's because he's got a history with youth and maybe he doesn't want to put him in straight away, but he has done with the likes of Shackleton. So maybe it's something we'll see in the next couple of games. I mean, I hope so. Jack Sadler, he's messaged in and he said, do you think these recent results against Sheffield Wednesday and Birmingham have been unlucky? Hi Jack, thanks for your comment. I do think they've been very unlucky, mate. I think even in the Birmingham game, Leeds were highly unlucky, and the reason I say that is because we still created chances. The only thing that's bugging me at the minute, I think, is people going on about this possession thing, because Leeds' back two sort of have the possession. Cooper and Jansen pass it between them so often that I think they skyrocket the possession stats. Teams are going to sit back against us, and they have the blueprint for that now. It's actually quite lucky that we're playing a team like Brentford, in my opinion. We'll see a good game of football. It's going to be open, and I think that will play into Leeds' hands because we're then going to be able to show our quality. And if Brentford were to sit back, which they may do, but I highly doubt, Leeds, I think, would struggle to break them down, just based on the fact that, I mean, it's so difficult to break down just those four banks in midfield, four banks at the back. Sheffield Wednesday extremely unlucky. I touched on it in my video, and I think that's probably one of the best performances you'll see. It's a 1-1 battering is what I was quoted as saying. And Birmingham, I think Birmingham were a good side. I really do. I think they were a good side. And Gary Monk, we all saw it, didn't we, when he was at Leeds? He tries to hold in, and he's defensively very strong. He did it at Swansea, he's done it at Leeds, and now he's showing it at Birmingham. So I think they have been both unlucky, but if that's a dip, then I'll take that all day. Spend XG, don't know if I've said that right. Do you think when Berardi returns from injury, he should go straight back into the first team or not? Cheers for your question, mate. Yeah, I do think Berardi goes straight back in. The reason behind that is because he is very fluid in possession. I think he's confident on the ball, and I think Bielsa likes him. I think with Jansen, there's 8 or 9 touches before he passes. He gets the ball, looks left, looks right, maybe takes a few touches, gets into the midfield sort of area and passes it, and I think the momentum's lost there. Whereas Berardi seems a lot more confident on the ball. He gets the ball, one touch pass. You saw it a lot in the build-up in the Norwich game. And you've seen it throughout the season, really. And I think Berardi is able to get the ball out of his feet and pass it. I think it's just confidence in possession. I don't think Jansen is as confident as Berardi. I think he's a quality defender at this level, is Jansen. And I think defensively he is better than Berardi, but I think Berardi suits Bielsa's system a lot better. Cheers for your question. Yep, the next one, once again from MCR Matty. What do you think should happen when Berardi comes back from injury? Just what I've touched on. We know Bielsa likes him and will probably play him, but Cooper is captain and links up well with Jansen. And Phillips makes rare but costly mistakes for me. Jansen and Phillips are smashing it, so where might this leave Berardi? It's a good point, mate, and it really divides opinion, as I've just touched on. I do personally think Berardi should come in the starting 11, and I wouldn't have said that last season, but I think he should start in the starting 11 alongside Cooper. I think we've seen even in the Borough game when physicality's been something that Leeds could have struggled with. Berardi's been able to cope with it really well. The Norwich game in particular as well. They've got a big lot of lads, Steeperman, Closer, obviously Jordan Rhodes. Sorry, God. Or is it Jordan Rhodes? I can't remember. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so they've got a lot of big lads in that side. So it's one of those where you've got to think to yourself, Berardi's got to get straight back in it for me. He just quickens up the play as well. So Josh, LUFC on Instagram, how do you think the team will act without Douglas? So far this season we've been using the left side more than the right, so do you think that will change? That's a really good point, Josh. Will we utilise the right side a little bit more often? I think that's a really good point. It's a good question. I think that could be it. I think you've seen Leeds really exploit the left-hand side because of the quality we've got there in Douglas. Will Leeds start exploiting that right-hand side with Hernandez coming back in as well? I think you're going to see a lot more of the possession go through him, like it was in the early parts of the season, and I think Leeds are probably going to target that side. I've said that to a couple of mates, actually, because that left-hand side, especially if you've got Dallas on that side and Alioski, I don't think that's that strong. And I think Pearce there, it gives a little bit more balance to the back four and the team, but we'll have to see with that one. I think the right side is a very good way of exploiting teams, and I think we've got a lot of quality down that side. Klitsch normally verges over to that side anyway, just naturally, so I think the right hand side, if Leeds can exploit that, especially against Brentford's side, their left side isn't particularly strong in my opinion. So yeah, that's maybe something we could exploit, especially at the weekend. So I've got a really good question actually from Dave Langford on Twitter. It's a bit of a broader question, a little bit more funny. The broader question, which maybe just designed for Twitter. So there's a night out. Me, Milner, who's a designated driver, obviously. I feel he is quite sensible, isn't he, Milner? And you can have 4 players who have played for Leeds with you, living or dead. Who are you having come along? Oh, Jesus, what a question, mate. I need like 20 minutes to think about that, and I've just read it now. So off the top of my head, any 4 players who've played for Leeds with you, living or dead, you can have to come along. Okay, so I'd have to have Billy Bremner. I'd love to know about the stories of that era. You know, he used to drink in my granddad's pub in Leeds. And I'd love to know the Cockbeck, if any of you know it. It used to be my granddad's pub, and they all used to come in there. There's apparently some great stories there that my granddad tells me, and I'd love to know about, you know, that sort of era. Billy Bremner, I think he'd have some great stories, and especially he went to the managerial side with Leeds as well afterwards. I'd like to know about that, the trophies. I mean, he's just a don, isn't he? He's our great legend. So I'd have Billy there. Do you know what I'd have as well? I'd have Smudge. I'd have Smith. I'd have Alan Smith because I want to know. I'd love to sort of speak to Smith about his. I know he's still a mad Leeds fan. He was at the game the other day, and he was at the 23s the other day. And I still think he's a massive Leeds lad. Do we forgive him? I know some Leeds fans won't, because he put on that horrible red shirt. And he also said, didn't he, on national TV, that he was never going to leave. But it's one of those, isn't it, where I'd love to be in a room with Smith and ask him these questions. What was going on at Leeds at the time? Did you want to leave? Were you pushed out? I think he was. Another one, I'd have Tony Yeboah. I think great personality, really funny in interviews, loves Leeds, loves the club, and he's some spectacular goals he scored. And I'd love to have Yeboah there as well. Don't know how Billy would take to him like, but yeah, another one as well. I'd probably have Mel Sterling. I think Mel Sterling's got a great personality. He's sort of very vibrant and stuff like that. He's very open. I've seen him on the Amazon Prime documentary. Seems like a right character. So they're the four I'd have. Probably Mel Sterling. Or to be fair, so many at Speed. Yeah, I'd scratch Sterling out and get Speedo in there. I'd love to have Gary Speed on there. Anyway, I don't think Barry Douglas' injury will affect the whole team. That's Pickering, Joey P 208. I think it's a massive loss. It's a huge loss. I'm not gonna lie. I think Pearce has to come in. I wouldn't have Dallas there because I think it ruins the balance of the back four on the side. But you know what can you do? In Bielsa we trust, don't we, lads? How about Premier League targets if we make it and go up? Brent Meister General. Premier League targets. James Milner is one I think of straight away, and that's primarily because he said that he wanted to come to Leeds if Leeds go up. I mean, what a signing that would be. And I think if we did go up, it'd be a lot more. Leeds wouldn't be spending money. We'd probably use the existing squad, a lot like maybe like a Cardiff have done. And we'd just try battle with the best, wouldn't we? And I think it'd just be more the experience of Leeds actually being in the division, which would just be fantastic. But I think that's getting a bit too far ahead of ourselves right now. I'm not too sure. Probably I'd go for like maybe loans, a lot of loans. Maybe obviously with the payments we'd get, we could invest in some like lower league players in the division as well. Maybe sort of like some Watford players, some Burnley players. Maybe get Charlie Taylor back, or you know, just. But my number one would definitely be James Milner, James Milner. Jasper Mergin, shout out to him. He's always commenting in. Our stats are virtually identical to Brentford's. Is this where the 12th man makes a difference? Fantastic question, Jasper Mergin. Yes, it is where the 12th man makes a difference, because I think it's going to be a really tight game. It's going to be open. I can't see that many goals being in it though. I can see a lot of chances being created, but I think it could be a 1-0 either way. And I think it could be a moment of madness, an own goal, or something like that could separate the two sides. But I think last 10 minutes it's 0-0. The 12th man will definitely make a difference. We need all of you there at the weekend. I know it's easy for me to say over here, but I wish I was there. Paul Ronnie, sorry if I've said that wrong, mate. Ronnie LUFC Paul. Alioski as left back, Harrison left wing, and Dallas right. Interesting. That's a great question, is that? I would say Alioski left back. He's done it for Macedonia, hasn't he? And he did it for his old club as well. Oh God, what's his old club? I can't remember. But Harrison left wing and Dallas right. I don't know if I trust Alioski at left back. I don't know, mate. I still don't think defensively he's great. I think he gives away too many fouls. Don't think he's reliable, too reliable at the back, like especially when we're defending set pieces and stuff like that. He seems to swipe a lot at it. And I think he was involved in that back four. I'm not sure they'd have 100% trust in him. So I don't know about that one, Paul. What do you think, mate? And the last question from Niall Smith 92 on Instagram. Do you think Alioski playing left back would be a better option than Dallas? A lot like Paul's question. I mean, he's quicker for one and plays there for his country. I also recall him being one of our best tacklers last season. Would love to hear your thoughts, mate. Cheers to that, Niall. Again, kind comment. Yeah, it's a good point, Kyle. I mean, we don't know, do we? I mean, do you try him out there or do you stick with a trusted one? I'll probably say because it's Brentford, I don't think you can try Alioski against Brentford because they will just target him, and you'll have the likes of Watkins, McEachran, who I've just mentioned, Mope sort of targeting that area, and I don't think... I mean, every game in the Championship's a tough one, but maybe that's something that you'd try out in a cup game. But I think for a league game, a really important league game, first versus fifth, I think you've got to have your best squad out. And you know, we've been talking about Alioski. Well, personally, I have. I know a lot of Leeds fans. I've not even been in the starting 11. Would I have him at left wing back? I mean, I guess if we're playing the three at the back, it might be better. But obviously, if we're playing the flat back four, I'd probably stick with. I mean, mine will be Tom Pearce anyway. But yeah. This has been great, guys. I've really enjoyed it. It's been fantastic to hear your comments. And I'm going to do this at every preview as well. I'm going to try to do this if I bring in the South Stand synopsis again. So get your questions in, and please comment on the video, please like. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a little bit different, and I hope you know a little bit more about Brentford now, and I hope you understand sort of my thoughts on Leeds and going forward and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, like I said, guys, leave your comments, likes, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Do you think Alioski should be played at left back? Do you think the 12th man will make a huge difference? Do you think Leeds are in trouble at the weekend? So leave your comments in the box below, and yeah, give us a like if you've enjoyed this video. Peace out, guys. Cheers.